working fluid over here in this particular cycle. Now in this 1 to 2 process, that is a isentropic work done process which is actually executed inside the turbine. So we prefer to say it is a turbine work done, where it is occurring for 1 to 2 process, and that process is known as isentropic process. That means entropy will be remain constant. So here in this particular process, the work will be produced. So I can put an arrow like this, outward arrow, so that outward arrow is representing some work is coming out during this process of 1 to 2. Work is produced, and that's why it is symbolized by W subscript T. T stands for turbine. So WT stands for turbine work. Okay. Then coming to process number 2 to 3. 2 to 3 is nothing but the constant pressure and constant temperature. Constant pressure and constant temperature heat ওটা দেখা যাচ্ছে না. Is it true for all? Yes, rotate your screen and put the mobile in landscape mode. It will be coming. I think all of you are clear with the screen, or something has to be changed. Okay, fine. Then what I am saying, that in 2 to 3 process some heat will be rejected. Heat will be rejected to the atmosphere. So that steam which is coming out from the turbine, it will be entering inside the condenser. That 2 to 3 process will be executed inside the condenser. Condenser actually a heat rejection device. That kind of condenser you can see in your refrigerator, in your air conditioner, everywhere. There is a spiral kind of tube at the back side. I think you people have seen. That spiral tube is nothing but a condenser. It is nothing but a heat rejection device. Inside of that, the hot working fluid will reject the heat to the atmosphere. So this is the condenser work. Basically that condenser is doing what it is doing. The steam which is coming out from the turbine, it is remains still hot. So that steam will be converted into condensate, that means condensed water. So that heat rejection will be taking place inside that condenser. So inside the condenser what is happening? Some cooling water is circulating. So cooling water will gain the heat and steam will reject the heat. Okay, and thus rejection of heat will be dissipated to the atmosphere. That heat will coming to the atmosphere through the cooling water. First steam will reject the heat to the cooling water, then cooling water will be gaining that heat, and cooling water again radiate the heat to the atmosphere. So after all, the ultimate sink is the atmosphere. Okay, so here I can put the same kind of arrow, outward arrow, and I am writing here that is QC. QC stands for Q stands for amount of heat, and C stands for the condenser. Okay, so that's why I am writing over here QC, and outward arrow indicating the heat is rejected out of this cycle and it is rejected to the atmosphere. That is the sink. Understood? Then still someone is entering. Sorry. So now the process coming 3 to 4. 3 to 4 process is similarly, you can see the profile of 1 to 2 and profile of 3 to 4, they are very same. That means it is also a isentropic process, and it is a isentropic compression process executed. That means the working fluid will be compressed and the pressure will be raised. Where this process is being done? Inside a pump. So after condensing the steam into condensed water, that is fed to the pump, and pump will, what it will do? Pump raise the pressure of that particular water and it will feed to the boiler drum. Obviously we all know in our home, all of you have some pump inside of your home. And what does it do? Do the same thing. It will pressurize the water from ground, under the ground, and it will send that water to the overhead tank. Okay, that same thing is doing here also. The pump will pressurize the water and it will send to that boiler drum. So obviously we all know pump is a work consuming device. That means you have to switch on an electrical device which is known as motor. Then motor will help us to rotate the pump. That means pump is a work consuming device. It will consume some work. So that's why I should put a arrow inside like this, and I am writing over here that is WP. W stands for work and P stands for pump. So pump is consuming work. That's why I have put an inward arrow. Inward arrow means something is going in. We have to supply some work to run the pump. That's why it is the arrow which is indicating inside. So isentropic compression, that process is being completed inside the pump. And some work is being consumed in this process. Again it is isentropic, so entropy will be remain constant. Now coming to the last process, which is I am indicating it 4 to 5 to 1. 4 to 5, then 5 to 1. That total process is actually a constant pressure heat addition process. Constant pressure heat addition process. Okay, so where this process actually occurring, I can say that 4 to 5, if you are aware with this particular state phase change process of water, what actually happened? Suppose at point 4 I am giving you an example. At point 4 temperature of water I am considering like 30 degrees centigrade. That means at point 4, that is the outlet part of the pump, discharge of the pump. Suppose I am assuming the discharge of the pump, the water temperature, that is at 30 degrees centigrade. It is the water temperature at point 4. Okay. Now this temperature of water is going to feed to the boiler drum, and we all know at normal atmospheric pressure the water start to convert it into steam. That means starts to boil, actually start to change its phase at 100 degrees centigrade. We all know these things. It is obviously relevant to the pressure, and I am talking about 1 atm pressure. So at 1 atm pressure, water will start to change its phase from liquid to gaseous at 100 degrees centigrade. Now you can see the difference. You are sending the water at 30 degrees centigrade and it has to be raised up to 100 degrees centigrade, then it will start to change its phase. So from 30 degrees centigrade to 100 degrees centigrade, which what amount heat you are supplying, that is known as sensible heat. This sensible heat is also known with you people. It is taught in the class of 7 or 8, or not 7, 8, it is 9, 10. So from 30 degrees to 100 degrees centigrade, when you are heating the water, the heat will be sensed. That means temperature will be increased. You can see temperature is rising. That's why heat can be sensed with the help of temperature change. That's why it is known as sensible heat. It can be sensed. Okay. So that point of time, while you are raising the temperature from its 30 degrees centigrade, like an example, up to 100 degrees centigrade, that process is being done inside economizer. What is economizer? I already told you people in the early class. I think it may be first class. Economizer is a device which is basically preheat the water before entering to the boiler drum. That is the thing it is doing. And the heat required to raise this temperature, that is the same flue gas temperature. Which heat it will utilize? That flue gas, hot flue gas. It will utilize that heat to preheat the water from 30 degree or to 100 degree. It has to be reached up to its saturation temperature. That is the 100 degrees centigrade is the saturation temperature at normal atmospheric pressure. Okay, so that 4 to 5, I'm just trying to represent that thing, that 4 to 5, that process actually executed inside the economizer. The temperature is being raised up to its saturation temperature over here. Then coming to 5 to 1, okay, I am putting a name over here, 6. First come to 5 to 6. 5 to 6, what actually happening there? It is the phase change process. It is the phase change process, we all know. Inside of this 5 to 6 process, that actual phase change is occurring from liquid to gaseous, and that point of time the heat is supplied, that is known as latent heat. These all are well known. Latent heat, that means hidden heat, because that heat cannot be measured, that's why it is known as hidden. Temperature will be remain constant, you are supplying the heat but still temperature is constant, that means the heat is hidden. The complete heat is being utilized to destroy the molecular bonding. That's why the phase change is occurring from liquid to the gaseous state. That's why it is known as latent heat. And that process actually occurring inside the boiler drum. Inside the boiler drum, that process is being executed. That 5 to 6 process. Now, while the temperature is being reached at 0.6, that 0.6 temperature is also the saturation temperature, but 0.6 is the dry saturation temperature and 0.5 is the liquid saturation temperature. These things are very well known for us. That is a dry saturation line, this is a liquid saturation line. So T5 will be the liquid saturation temperature, T6 will be the dry saturation temperature. Now if you want to put more heat into the steam, because if we put more heat, then more energy will be going in with the steam and it will produce more work. That's why basically we do the superheating part. That means after reaching 0.6, then we are again heating that particular steam into the superheated region. Okay, and that 0.6 to 0.1, that part is 6 to 1, that part is superheating process, superheating the steam. Now where this superheating process is being executed? Inside a accessory which is known as superheater. That already I have explained in the earlier classes, where I have discussed with economizer as well as with superheater. Superheater also a kind of accessory. It will help to increase the temperature of the steam from its saturation temperature up to some higher level, by which more amount of energy will be imposed in the steam. Okay, so that 0.6 to 0.1, the temperature will be increased further with the help of superheater, and again superheater will utilize that same heat. Which heat? That heat which is going to exhaust to the flue gas. While the exhaust gas is going to the chimney part, again it is having lots of heat inside it, and that exhaust flue gas heat will be utilized by the superheater to again reheat the steam to raise the temperature from its saturation temperature up to its superheating temperature. In this diagram I can say from 0.6 to 0.1, the temperature is being raised with the help of that superheater accessory. Okay, so up to this what I have discussed, that 0.4 to 0.1, the total process is being done in different segments, like 4 to 5 is being done inside the economizer, 5 to 6 is being done inside the boiler drum, and 6 to 1 is completed inside the superheater. But the total process is heat supply. Complete this 0.4 to 1 process in terms of heat supply, we can say always heat is being supplied to the working fluid, isn't it? Always the working fluid gaining some heat. We are only concentrating on the working fluid. Working fluid means the water, or it may be gaseous steam, it may be liquid state water, it may be a mixture of liquid and gaseous state, or it can be fully gaseous state, that is water vapor. So inside this 4 to 1 process, I can put some arrow over there like this way. This whole process, always some heat is being supplied in. Let me put some different subscript, put it like Q1, that means heat is supplied, and Q2, that is heat is rejected. So it will be more easy in later practice. So that's why Q1 is the amount of heat supplied in this cycle, and it is being done from point 4 up to point 1. This whole process is a heat supply process. And from where the heat is being supplied? Only from the combustion of fuel. Okay. So the amount of heat supplied to the cycle, that is Q1, and it is being done from point 4 to point 1. And the heat rejected, that is being completed in process 2 to 3, and that is represented by Q2. So Q1 is heat supplied, Q2 is heat rejected. Now tell me, up to this limit, all these things are clear to you or not? Someone tell me please. If you have any confusion, then please let me know that, otherwise I will proceed further. Okay, thank you. Then after understanding this whole cycle, what we are going to do over here? We are going to find out the different work done. If we able to find out the work done, then we can find out the efficiencies. That is the objective for today's lecture. So first of all, already I have expressed that work is being produced by turbine, work is being consumed by the pump, heat is supplied to the boiler inside 4 to 1 process, and 2 to 3 is a heat rejection process. Now with the application of steady state steady flow energy equation, what is that? It is nothing but an energy equation, where we can understand steady, I am writing it is in short form, steady state steady flow energy equation. I can write it in short form, steady state steady flow energy equation. By this equation can be applied for any open device. Open device means you can see all these devices like turbine, condenser, pump, boiler, they all are open system. Why they are open system? Because in open system, mass and energy both will come in and both will go out. I am not going into detail because you people are from electrical department, so I am not going into detail, just giving you the hint up to which you people are requiring that thing. Okay. So steady state steady flow energy equation is valid for open system where mass and energy both will enter the system and both will go out of the system. And every device, these 4 devices, they all are open system because mass and energy coming in and going out for all those. So by this equation, what we can say that change in enthalpy, change in kinetic energy, and change in potential energy is equal with interval of amount of heat and work. That is the equation which is known as steady state steady flow energy equation. That is the del H. Del H means change in enthalpy. In easy word I can say enthalpy is nothing but the heat. Okay. It is basically a sum of 2 energies like internal energy and flow energy. Obviously it is the energy. Kinetic energy people are knowing with the thing kinetic energy and potential energy. I am not going to discuss regarding these two. And del means the change, that means in and out. In and out, if there is any change, then that will be expressed by del, and that must be equal with Q minus W. Q minus Q means the amount of heat and the W means amount of work. Obviously work is being produced if you supply some amount of heat. So Q minus W is the amount of net work. Obviously if you supply 10 kilojoule of heat, never it is possible to convert the 10 kilojoule heat into work. Some amount of heat will be consumed in some other form. It may be wasted in the form of friction. Some heat can be radiated, or molecular energy also can be encountered. I am not going to into those details. So that is the equation which is known as steady state steady flow energy equation. Why I am bringing this thing here? Because if you want to find out the work done for every device, we have to use this equation. I can convert this equation into easy form, in a very easy form, because we are neglecting the change in kinetic energy here. We are neglecting this part. We are changing the change in potential energy also here. Okay. So if we ignore these two parts, that there is no change in kinetic energy, if there is no change in potential energy, then the equation is coming del H equals to Q minus W. Understood? Now using this particular thing, I am going to find out the work done for, or maybe heat supplied for every 4 devices. First coming with for boiler. So for boiler, what we can see inside this boiler, what it is happening there, that is the amount of heat is being supplied to the boiler, because economizer, superheater and the boiler drum, all these 3 components include inside the boiler. So I can consider the economizer, boiler drum and the superheater, these 3 components, they constitute like a boiler, because they all are integral part of boiler. Okay. So for boiler, what we can write, can we write like this? See, the change in enthalpy, I am using this particular equation here. Now you see that inside the boiler there is no work done, isn't it? Because inside economizer or boiler drum or superheater, there is no moving parts, there is no displacement. If there is no moving part, there is no displacement, then obviously no work will be produced. So if for boiler I can write that W is nothing but 0, because no work is being produced or no work is being supplied, nothing else. So that's why I can assume that for, it is not an assumption, it is a real fact, that for a boiler there is no work done. So I can write for boiler, what I can write, the change in enthalpy. Now what change enthalpy, I can consider the change in enthalpy, always the change should be considered in terms of final minus initial. So final enthalpy can be written by H1 and the initial enthalpy can be written by H4. That is a change in enthalpy. Where it is coming from? This equation, from this equation I am writing. Okay. So change in enthalpy is nothing but this, and that should be equal with amount of heat supplied, and I have represented it Q1 because Q1 is noted over there. So H1 minus H4, they are nothing but change in enthalpy, and that change in enthalpy always will be expressed in a unit of kilojoule per kg. That's why they are known as specific enthalpy. They are known as specific enthalpy. Specific means for unit mass. For unit mass flow rate, how much energy is there, that is specific enthalpy, and it is expressed in a unit of kilojoule per kg. Those values can be collected from a steam table. What is steam table? You people are know. You people know what is steam table? If you are knowing with the steam table, then I will brief the thing. Otherwise, I have to discuss the whole thing regarding steam table. Anybody? Hello? Very good, sir. So if you are not having the information regarding steam table, then I have to discuss the steam table in detail. Okay. Now you should know one thing, that these enthalpy values you can collect from steam table. What is steam table? I am coming later. Okay. From steam table, these enthalpy values can be collected. Fine. So if you get these values of enthalpies, then easily you can find the amount of heat you are supplying to the boiler. Q1 can be collected from the steam table values. Then coming for turbine. In case of turbine, what is doing? Turbine is a work producing device. So if you apply the same steady state, steady flow energy equation, what we can write over there using the same equation, this one. Okay. Then what we can write over there? Obviously some work will be produced, but no heat is being actually, heat is nothing there. So I can consider that Q is 0 here. So the work is being produced I can write Wt, and it can be written like, you can see one thing if I detail it. So change in enthalpy, what does this mean? Final enthalpy minus initial enthalpy, that is H2 minus H1, that is a change in enthalpy. So Q is 0, so minus W will be there, isn't it? So if I write the, if you change the sign, so it will give you W, I write it Wt. So Wt is nothing but H1 minus H2. Okay, so similarly it will also coming with the unit of kilojoule per kg, H1 minus H2. Also this case also, the enthalpy values you can find from steam table if you know the pressure. Obviously pressure will be known for you. Okay, so H1 minus H2 will be the work produced by the turbine for 1 kg of working fluid. You can see the unit, it is kilojoule per kg. So for 1 kg of working fluid, how much work is being produced by the turbine, you can find it from here. Then coming to for condenser. For condenser, what we do, obviously some heat is being rejected from the condenser, so it's a heat rejection device. Here also there is no moving part. If there is no moving part, then no work is being produced inside the condenser, but heat will be there, heat is rejected. So I can write that same equation, steady state steady flow energy equation. If I apply it over here, the change in enthalpy will be H3 minus H2, that is the final enthalpy minus initial enthalpy, equals with no work is being produced, so that will be Q, and basically I have represented by Q2, so Q2 should be there. So I can write it Q2 equals to the change in enthalpy that is final enthalpy H3 minus initial enthalpy. So Q minus W, H3 minus H2. Okay, so when you are finding these values from the steam table, you people will find that H2 will be greater, H2 will be greater than H3 from steam table. When you are going to find those values from steam table, then you will observe that H2 value will be greater than the H3 value. That means that Q2 will give you a negative value. And why this negative value is coming? Because heat is rejected there. We all know our basic sign convention. While work is being produced, then always it should be mentioned by a positive sign. When work is being consumed, then always it should be mentioned by some negative sign. This sign convention is accepted worldwide. Work produced, it is positive, work consumed, it is negative. Similarly, heat rejected, it is negative, and heat supplied, it is positive. That same kind of sign convention is accepted worldwide. So here also, if you collect those values from the steam table and put it over there, you will find that Q2 value will coming with a negative thing, and that negative value is giving you a sense that heat is being rejected. Similarly, for boiler, if you try to find these values H1 or H4 from the steam table, you always will find that H1 value will be greater than the H1 value is always greater will be the H4 value. That means Q1 will be positive. That means that positive value is giving you a sense that heat is being supplied in. Understood? Similarly, in case of turbine also, you will find that H1 value will be greater than H2 value. So it will give you a positive value. That means work is produced by turbine. Now coming to the last part, I am wiping this part, so it will give you some space. Otherwise it will be small board actually. So if I go for the last part, that is pump. We all know pump is also a work consuming device. So in case of pump also, there is I can write the same equation, right? Change in enthalpy, that is H4 minus H3, that is final enthalpy, that is H4, initial enthalpy, that is H3. It is nothing but Q minus W. So Q nothing will be there, sorry, Q will be there, but sorry, no heat is there, actually work is being consumed, so Q minus W, so minus W will be there because Q is 0, so that minus will be there. Okay, now if we find these particular values, that means the enthalpy value, that those enthalpy value, always we will find that H4 will be greater than H3 from steam table. You will find these values and you will observe that H4 will be greater than H3. So what does this mean? That means these value will coming with a positive sense. Now here is a negative. So after all, the work done coming from the pump, it will give you a negative sense, isn't it? Because H4 is greater than H3. And why this negative is coming? That negative is giving you a feel that pump is a device which will consume some work. Basically, electrical motor will be there who will supply this work. Understood? So never bother with the sign. The sign is only giving you a feel that it is work producing or work consuming, similar heat supplied in or heat is rejected. That is the thing. Up to this, there is any problem or not? Tell me. Yes. I'm not talking about temperature. I'm talking about the enthalpy, and enthalpy is related with two things. One is internal energy, one is pressure, and one is specific volume. These three things actually gives the value of enthalpy. What are they? They are internal energy, second one is pressure, and third one is specific volume. If you find these three values with respect to some pressure, then you can find the enthalpy value. And always you will see that the pressure at point 3 and the pressure at point 4, they are different. I can give you a hint, the pressure at point 4 will be more than the pressure at point 3. So depending on the pressure, when you raise the pressure, based on that the enthalpy value also will be increased. At the time of realistic problem, when you solve some problem, that point of time you will see that at point 3 and at point 4 the enthalpy will be different, and always the enthalpy at point 4 will be more comparing with point 3 because the pressure is different, and the pressure at point 4 will be more because the pressure is raised by the pump actually. So with the increasing pressure, the enthalpy value also will be increased. So I can guarantee you that H4 will be more than the H3 value depending on the high pressure. Understood? আর কারোর কোনো অসুবিধা থাকলে বলো। Yes. But in this particular case, in this pump, there is no heat is supplied actually. No? That's why I have written over there Q is 0, because inside that pump you haven't supplied any heat over there. Heat is being supplied in only this 4 to 1 process, and heat is rejected only in this 2 to 3 process. That's why there is no function of heat in case of pump work. Understood? Very good. Anything else? Fine. So if I remove this particular part, then I should show you one more thing from there, that if anybody try to find out the economizer, what amount of heat you have supplied to the economizer, or what amount of heat is actually being utilized inside the boiler drum or for a superheater, then how you can find it? You can find it also like this manner. Suppose I am just making the same drawing and just only putting this particular phase change process. That means suppose this is the point 4, I am just drawing this particular phase change process. This is the point 1, and this is point 5, and this is point 6, leaving the other processes. Now if anybody try to find out, suppose that Q economizer, eco stands for economizer, with respect to the amount of heat, that is the Q1 process. During this whole process heat is being supplied in, so Q1, Q1, Q1. Now if anybody try to find out that what is the amount of heat is being supplied inside the economizer, which is the part of economizer, that is the part of economizer, isn't it? That sensible heating is being done inside the economizer. So if you want to compare that, Q1 is the total amount of heat supplied, isn't it? The total amount of heat supplied during the process of 4 to 1. If you want to compare Q eco to Q1, then how you can find it? Q eco, obviously the same thing will be repeated again, H5 minus H4, that is the final enthalpy minus initial enthalpy, and Q1 is the total amount of heat supplied, that is H1 minus H4. If anybody having any difficulty to understand the whole thing, then please speak out. That is the Q eco is the amount of heat supplied to the economizer only, and that is the heat, that is the total heat. Similar way you can find the Q evaporator. Q evaporator means the where the evaporation process is actually being executed. So Q evaporator is nothing but Q drum, what amount of heat actually being supplied inside the drum. Why I am writing Q eva? That means Q evaporator, because the evaporation is being completed from liquid state to gaseous state inside this drum. That's why I am writing like this way. So that can be find out also Q evaporator by Q1. I am making the same kind of comparison over here. I can write the same thing, H6 minus H5, that is the final enthalpy minus the initial enthalpy, by the total amount of heat supplied, that is H1 minus H4. Very easy. Then coming with Q superheater, and can write it like SH. SH stands for superheater. Again I am making the same comparison with the total amount of heat supplied. It can be written superheater, that means the amount of heat, amount of enthalpy, final enthalpy H1, initial enthalpy H6, divided by same thing H1 minus H4. So that way, by using these three relationship, you can find that what amount of heat you are supplying to the economizer as well as for the boiler drum and for the superheater. So you can find out like this way. You can also find it by the area under this curve. Area under this curve you can find it. Like if you find the area under the curve of 4 to 5, then again you can get the same thing, area under the curve of 4 to 5 and area under the curve is whole Q to 1. What I am trying to implicate, if you find area under 4 to 5 with respect to area under 4 to 1, again you can find the same thing graphically. I am not going to discuss over here the process of graphical solution. That's why I am not going to enter into that particular thing. But if you make a graph properly, then from the graph itself you can find these values. But we are going to find out those values from the steam table. That's why steam table is very important over here. Up to this, any problem? Okay. Now after getting all those work done, then what we are going to find out? If we want to know the performance, then performance only can be judged if we know the efficiencies. So now we are going to find out the efficiencies. If we try to find out the efficiency, suppose if I make a block diagram, it will be more easy to understand for you people. Suppose there is a furnace. From furnace the heat is being liberated, and that is the main amount of heat. From where it is coming, that is the furnace. I have represented in the Rankine cycle by Q1. Q1 is the amount of total heat supplied, and where that heat is going, that heat is going in different part of the boiler. Like condenser, it is going condenser. Then if I should not write like this, I should mention it boiler. All the part of boiler, that heat is being supplied. Then from boiler, that heat is being rejected to the sink. We can consider the sink like atmosphere. Then what amount of heat rejected, that is Q2. I have represented in the Rankine cycle by Q2, that is the amount of heat rejected. Sink means where the heat is being exhausted. We consider the sink here like atmosphere. And from boiler, basically what it is coming out, that is the turbine rotation. Now the turbine rotation will be supplied to the dynamo, and you electrical people, you are very well known about dynamo more than me. So dynamo is basically a generator, so it will generate the electricity. Basically we randomly say that it will generate the electricity, but we all know that generator, no one can generate some energy. Basically it is converting the energy, it coming turbine work, that is a mechanical energy in rotation, and the dynamo, due to the cutting of flux, it will convert that rotational energy, that is the mechanical energy, into electrical energy, isn't it? So after all, from dynamo what we are going to get, that is the electricity, that is the outcome. It's a basic block diagram. From there, if you try to find out what is eta overall, eta means efficiency and overall means overall efficiency, can we write like this? That is the power available at generator terminal. Sorry, spelling mistake can be there. Okay, generator terminal, that is the ultimate output. From generator terminal what you are getting out, that is the ultimate output of this whole thing. And with respect to input, what input, this is the input, what amount of heat you are supplying in. So obviously in terms of furnace, what you are coming inside furnace, what you are giving, it is giving you lots of fuel inside. So what amount of energy you are getting out of this fuel, that is the main input to that particular furnace. And overall efficiency always deal with the ultimate output to the initial, like the basic input. So I can write here that rate of energy available by burning fuel, that is the main input. So if I write like this way, we all know that the generator terminal output, we all know we express it in megawatt. We all actually heard many times that power plant unit is generation of 250 megawatt, 500 megawatt. That kind of generation capacity we frequently listen, are frequently familiar with this particular thing in megawatt. So that's why always this generator terminal output will be expressed in terms of megawatt. And if we convert it into kilowatt, some 10 to the power 3 will be multiplied, because we have to convert into kilo form, because those energy will coming with the kilo unit. That's why first of all megawatt should be converted into kilowatt, and in denominator part it will come like this. First let me write it, then I will explain. mf dot into Cv. What does this mf dot? That is the mass flow rate of fuel. Mass flow rate of fuel. Obviously mass flow rate will be expressed in kg per hour. What mass of fuel you are supplying in to the combustion chamber, to the furnace, with respect to 1 hour. This dot is representing with respect to time. If any symbol included with a overhead dot, that is representation of with respect to time. Okay, and Cv you all know, that is calorific value of fuel. Calorific value means if we burn 1 kg of fuel, then how much amount of energy it will evolve. It will be expressed in kilojoule per kg. So if you burn 1 kg of fuel, so how much amount of energy will be liberated from it, that is the calorific value, nothing else. So from this particular expression, if you know the generator output, if you know these things, then you can find out the overall efficiency. Then coming to eta boiler, that is the boiler efficiency. Boiler efficiency, I should remove this particular part, otherwise space will be insufficient. Okay, removing this part, so space is so less for me. Eta boiler, it can be written like this. Boiler, actually inside the boiler, it is the energy you have to supply to the water to form the steam. So I can write it like this: rate of energy absorption by water to form steam, and with respect to rate of energy released by burning the fuel, that is the boiler efficiency. Because we all know that efficiency is nothing but output to input. So what output actually utilized, what amount of energy actually being utilized to convert the water into steam, and with respect to the input means what energy is liberated from the burning of fuel. Okay, so that way I can replace this expression like this also: mf dot s into the change in enthalpy for boiler, that is H1 minus H4. That thing already we have expressed, H1 minus H4, that is the inside the boiler what amount of heat actually utilized, and input, the same thing, mf dot cv. Here m dot s, that is the mass of steam or mass flow rate of steam. It is also expressed in kg per hour. So in terms of 1 hour, how much amount of steam you are generating, that is m dot s. And H1, H4, the same specific enthalpy, they are gettable from steam table. Then coming to eta cycle, that means the cycle efficiency. Cycle efficiency means that Rankine cycle efficiency. Here this cycle means the Rankine cycle. That Rankine cycle, that is obviously output to input should be there. So what are the output or what are the input? You can see that H1 minus H2, I can write it like this: the net work it is producing, that is WT minus WP. Why I am writing WT minus WP? Because WT is the turbine work and WP is the pump work. So what amount of work is being produced by the turbine, some amount of work will be consumed by the pump from there, because pump is a work consuming device. So how much power you are generating from turbine, some power will be consumed by the pump. That's why that is the net work, WT minus WP. Understood? And in terms of input, that is the amount of heat you are supplying in, that is the Q1. So I can write it, WT I have expressed by H1 minus H2, you can see just before of that, and pump work I represented H4 minus H3, and divided by Q1, that is the amount of heat you have supplied. So that is nothing but that H1 minus H4. In terms of enthalpy, that is the total amount of heat supplied to the boiler. So if you use these enthalpy values, from there you can get the values of eta cycle. I am again repeating, all those enthalpy values easily can be find out from the steam table. If we neglect the pump work, then you can ignore this particular part. Many problems written over there, the pump work can be neglected. Then you can ignore this H4 minus H3 part, because this part is actually dealing with the pump work. And if it is not mentioned, if some pump work is there, then you have to consider those pump work. Otherwise you can ignore it. Then I am moving into turbine. I am removing this drawing, otherwise space is very inadequate. Then I am finding the eta turbine, that means turbine efficiency. Eta turbine. Turbine basically that is a relative efficiency we are trying to find out. So we say that is the relative turbine efficiency, that is relative efficiency of turbine. Okay, relative efficiency means obviously we have to compare. So what is the comparison actually we are doing? We are comparing brake output of turbine. Brake output means actual output, what we are getting out of the turbine, and internal output of turbine. What does this mean? That means actual output, that is the brake output, because while the turbine is rotating, some work will be actually lost, because while you are getting output to the generator end, that is the brake output. That brake output will be given to the generator, and the internal output means inside the turbine housing, what amount of power is being generated by the turbine. Some work will be lost due to the transmission, that is known as transmission loss or frictional losses. There will be some bearings, there will be some air friction, so some losses must be there, it cannot be avoided. So the brake output, what it is coming at the turbine end, which is actually at the generator end, that is the actual output, and that is the theoretical input. It is a theoretical input to the turbine, it is the actual output of the turbine. Understood? So that brake output is always given in the problem. Brake output always will be given in the problem. That is the, suppose it should be written like 250 megawatt, or it can be written like 30 kilowatt, 300 kilowatt is the brake output of turbine. It will be written like this. And internal output of the turbine, it can be expressed like this way: m dot s into h1 minus h2. H1 minus h2, that is the turbine work, and m dot s already I have explained, that is the mass flow rate of steam you are giving to the turbine. It should be expressed in kg per hour. Okay, that way the relative turbine efficiency can be find out. And if you try to find out the generator efficiency, generator efficiency means the electrical output of turbine generator, and input means that is the brake output of turbine, because that is the input of generator. So that way I can find out that electrical output also will be given in the problem. It will be expressed in megawatt. So megawatt 10 to the power 3 will be converted into kilowatt, and the brake output will be given in the kilowatt also. That brake output of the turbine, it will be given in kilowatt. It will be always given in kilowatt. If it is not given, then you have to convert it. Otherwise you can put them both in megawatt. Most of the time brake output of the turbine will be given in the kilowatt unit. Up to this, any problem? Similarly, yes. M dot S is the mass flow rate of steam which you are supplying to the turbine in kg per hour, and H1 minus H2, that is the change in enthalpy inside the turbine. You can see that Rankine cycle diagram. H1 is the enthalpy into the turbine, H2 is the enthalpy out from the turbine. See the diagram. H1 and H2. What diagram chilo? Rankine cycle diagram ta dekho baba. Our diagram ago. Rankine cycle diagram e just see the diagram. 1 and 2 point এরকম ভাবে ছিল না. Here it was 1 and here it was 2 and here the turbine was. That's why I have written H1 minus H2. That is the turbine work. See that Rankine cycle diagram. That point was 1, that point was 2. Expansion. Exactly. That work is being completed in the turbine. That is a theoretical part. Theoretically, that amount of energy will be produced, but actually produce this one, brake output. That's why I have repeatedly telling you that is the actual part, that is the theoretical part. because we are making a relative efficiency of turbine. That's why relative means we have to make a comparison between ideal and actual. Understood? Fine. And one last thing is left over there, that is auxiliaries. Eta auxiliaries. Eta auxiliary means if there is some devices which is consuming some power. Obviously some devices are there. At the time of boiler draught, I have explained you what is boiler draught. That point of time I have explained that artificial draught. So to make the artificial draught, lots of blower will be there. Lots of blower will be there. So all those blower will consume some power. As well as for conveyor system, the conveyor system run by some electrical motor, they will consume some power. As well as coal crusher will be there. Coal crusher, as well as some devices are there who are actually there to minimize the pollution effect, like electrostatic precipitator or cyclone separator. Those devices you have to read out. ESP or cyclone separator, those are basically some devices which are kept in a power plant to minimize the pollution level, and all those devices actually consuming some power. So some auxiliary device like draught fan, crusher, conveyor system, ESP, they will consume some amount of power. So that's why auxiliary efficiency will be there. I can write the expression like this way: net power transmitted by generator, that is the net power transmitted by the generator, by gross power. It is also a kind of relative thing. Gross power produced by plant. You can see that gross, obviously efficiency always will be less than 1. Then denominator part will be greater than 1, numerator part will be less than 1. And you can see the gross power. Gross power will be the maximum, more than the numerator, net power. Net power means after consuming some of the power with the help of those ESP or draught fans, or it can be some ESP or crusher, they will consume some power. So the net power will be less than the gross power. So if you compare these two, then you can find the auxiliary efficiency. Understood? After getting all this efficiency, if you try to find out that what is eta overall, after getting all those efficiencies, if you try to find out that what is eta overall, then you have to find it eta boiler multiplied eta cycle multiplied eta turbine multiplied eta generator, and coming the last one eta aux. If you multiply all these efficiencies over there, from there you can find out the overall efficiency. Now if we put all those expressions, whatever we have derived, if you put all those expressions, you can see that eta overall expression will give you the same whatever I have written in before of that. I have written eta overall like megawatt into 10 to the power 3. You can see that thing already I have written. M dot F into CV, that expression I have already mentioned by eta overall. And if you put all these expression one by one and multiply them, you will see some parts will be cancelled and only this part will be left over. So that way that eta overall efficiency, if you are given in the problem these efficiencies, or if it may happen some of the efficiencies you have to find out, after all overall efficiency you can find after putting all those values. I can give you a typical hint like eta boiler. Most of the times it comes in a range of 0.92 or 92%. I am putting you actually I am giving you some data like common data. Randomly this efficiency values comes like this kind of range. Okay, cycle efficiency kind in between 40 to 50%. turbine efficiency gives a very higher value like 90 to 95%. Generator efficiency also will be a very high value like 9 to 95%, and auxiliary efficiency is also 0.95% around. Now if you multiply all these values, you can see the overall efficiency will be coming with like 0.3 to 0.4%. That is the overall efficiency. That is not very great. But if we compare, sorry, the interaction makes the recording stop. Again I have started the recording. So total heat required to evaporate feed water divided by the thing what will come at the denominator part, that is the thing that what amount of heat is required to convert this thing from 100 degrees centigrade up to 100 degrees centigrade. The total heat is converted, that heat is known as latent heat, and the latent heat magnitude at normal atmospheric pressure, I think some of you is knowing this value 2257, that is the amount of latent heat. 2257, that is the amount of latent heat is required to convert the water from 100 degrees centigrade to steam at 100 degrees centigrade. That is the latent heat. If you use this particular expression, if you write this expression furthermore, I can write it like this: m into, basically in terms of Rankine cycle, if I try to write it, basically in terms of Rankine cycle, what I have explained you in the time of Rankine cycle, I have to draw it or not again, that kind of diagram was there. So this point was 0.4, is it? 3 and 4, yes, 3 was there, 4 is there, then it was 5, then 6, it was like this. That was the diagram for this point was 1. So I can write that phase change process, that is the H1 minus H4, it should be there divided by 2257. That this unit will be kilojoule per kg, H1 minus H4, that 2257 is also kilojoule per kg. And what is this M, capital M? Capital M is nothing but m dot s by m dot f. That means mass of steam generated per hour, and mf, mass of fuel burned per hour. Mass of steam generated per hour, that is kg per hour, and mass of fuel burned per hour, that is also kg per hour. So if you put all these things over there, from there you can find the thing which is known as equivalent evaporation. From there I can say that what will be the unit of equivalent evaporation. You can see that if you put all those units over there, it will be a unitless thing. But for the sake of simplification or for the sake of understanding, we say that unit of E, I can write like this, it is kilo, either it may be expressed by kg per kg of fuel burned. What does this mean? That means kg of steam generated per kg of fuel burned. You can see it is also giving a unitless thing. Kg per kg means unitless. So it can be expressed by this way: kg of steam generated per kg of fuel burned. That is the unit of equivalent evaporation. Okay. So that way, if any problem it is asked you that what is equivalent evaporation, then you have to find these values by which you can find equivalent evaporation. And in this expression, this H1 minus H4 divided by 2257, this part is known as factor of evaporation. So if any short question comes that what is factor of evaporation, that is the part which is known as factor of evaporation. H1 minus H4, that is the heat received by 1 kg water, and 2257, that is the heat received by 1 kg water during the evaporation, during the phase change process, that is the latent heat 2257. That thing is known as factor of evaporation, and that is expressed generally capital Fe. Understood or not? Thank you. Now I am going to share the screen with you, where you can see the steam table. Let me allow this share the screen. Can you see now? Can you see the screen? Wait a bit. Thank you. Now see, I have already downloaded a steam table for you. I will share the PDF of steam table with you. From there you can easily get the steam table. Now in steam table, actually two different types of steam tables are there. One is, you can see, saturated water. Can you see over there, saturated water temperature table? Can you see that part? That means it is a steam table which is known as temperature steam table, and it is for saturation steam table. So two part of steam table is there. One is saturation steam table, one is superheated steam table. I am just showing you the different second part of the steam table, which is superheated steam table. Wait, see here, superheated water vapor written over there. Can you see? Someone please unmute yourself. If anybody, anyone unmute, keep your arms unmute so I can communicate with you. Otherwise, it will be a very problematic thing. একজন কেউ খুলে রাখো. So superheated water vapor means this part is basically representing the superheated steam table. This part will be observed when you are going to find out the enthalpy values for the superheater, because in the Rankine cycle I have shown you people the superheating process is being done inside the superheater. So while you are trying to find out the H1 value will be coming from the superheated steam table, because that thing is actually a superheated steam. Understood? Thank you. আর বাকি যে এনথালপি গুলো ছিল, লাইক অ্যাপার্ট অফ H1, H2, H3, H4, H5, all those enthalpies you can find out from saturation steam table. Now in saturated steam table, first one you see the temperature table. That means with respect to first column is the temperature. With respect to temperature, lots of properties are there. You can see first one is pressure. So this pressure is with respect to temperature. Okay, and the unit of pressure is given kilopascal or it is in megapascal. Temperature in degree centigrade. Then third column is small v1, that is the, let me zoom itself, that is a VL subscript L, that means specific volume at liquid state. Then VV, that is the specific volume at vapor stage. Then UL, that is the internal energy at liquid stage. Then LV, that is liquid vapor mixture zone. UV, that is for vapor zone. Similarly, if you move forward rightward, then you can see that enthalpy values. HL, that is at liquid state. LV, that is liquid vapor mixture zone. HV, that is the vapor zone. Similarly, you can get the entropy values SL, SLV and SV. That means enthalpy, entropy, internal energy, specific volume, all you are getting in this temperature table with respect to temperature. You all are capable to see this screen? Thank you. From Chrome. Then actually we need to see the steam table with respect to pressure, because in the problem pressure will be given to you, and to different pressure level we have to find the enthalpy values. Now I am going to show you that where is the pressure table. If you scroll the thing, then it is coming. See, pressure table. This is the pressure table. Now here you can see the pressure is the leftmost column. Comparing to pressure, then temperature, specific volume, same thing. Specific volume at liquid, at vapor, then internal energy. If you move rightward, then you can get the enthalpy values, entropy values. Now you see the enthalpy is given in three states. One is liquid state, one is liquid vapor state, and one is vapor state. And obviously we need these three things. তিনটেই দরকার হতে পারে according to need we have to select any one of them, or it may be two of them. So from this pressure table with respect to some definite pressure we have to find those enthalpy values from the steam table. It may happen কখনো interpolation করতে হতে পারে, যেমন 0.275 is given, 0.3 দেওয়া আছে, তো এর ভেতরে যদি দরকার হয় most of the time we do interpolation, and if you want to avoid the interpolation then you have to do some approximation. So approximation serve the purpose. Okay, interpolation যদি কিভাবে করে জানতে চাও, I can help you to understand the interpolation. Then coming to the superheated table. In superheated table you can see, superheated steam table. So in superheated steam table you can see the structure of the steam table is something different. You can see the pressure is given 10 kilopascal, first one. With respect to 10 kilopascal, the temperature, specific volume, internal energy, enthalpy, then entropies are there. A stands for entropy, H stands for enthalpy, U internal energy, V specific volume, T temperature. In superheated steam table with respect to different pressure value, all the properties are given. See, this table is for 10 kilopascal, this one is for 50 kilopascal. If we move, then it is for 100 kilopascal. Like this, according to different pressures, those properties are given. So if you know the superheated pressure, then you can get, according to superheated pressure and temperature, you have to find the enthalpy values. It may happen sometime you may need to find the entropy values also, but enthalpy, whatever it is, you can find it from steam table. বোঝা গেছে? So after getting the steam table values, অঙ্কটা করতে হবে। Now I am switch off this screen sharing. Again coming back to the board. Is that board is visible for you now? Thank you. So from the steam table very easily you can find those enthalpy values. Now see one thing. While I have drawn that particular steam dome, I have named it like, here it may happen that the steam is produced by the boiler, it never goes into superheated region. It may happen. Okay, suppose the steam is in this particular state, that means there is no superheater or superheater is damaged. You can consider what is the steam you are generating from the boiler, that is inside the liquid vapor zone. That is the zone which is liquid and vapor both are there. It is a mixture zone. This zone is vapor, this zone is liquid. Now if the steam is resting inside this liquid vapor zone, then some part of the steam is liquid and some part of the steam is vapor, isn't it? That's why it is written L plus V, that is liquid plus vapor. So that point of time one parameter comes in front of us, that is known as dryness fraction. Dryness fraction is a parameter by which you can find the quality of steam. Quality of steam means, is that steam is good or bad? Obviously we all know that if the steam is having moisture with it, then that moisture will be corrode the turbine blade if you supply it, because moisture is a source of corrosion. So turbine blade will be corroded, and as well as if the steam is having lots of moisture inside it, then the enthalpy values will be low. So it will also be a very harmful thing. That's why the dryness fraction is a parameter which will give you the value by which you can understand is that steam is completely dry or some moisture is there. So dryness fraction can be expressed by like this way, that mass of dry steam and mass of total mixture. If you use this relation, then you can find the dryness fraction value. Obviously if the steam is resting over this black dot, then the mass of dry steam, suppose I am considering the dryness fraction in this particular point is 0.9, and X is basically a symbol by which dryness fraction represented. Suppose I am considering dryness fraction is 0.9. What does this mean? That means 90% steam is dry out of 100%, isn't it? 0.9 means 90% steam is dry out of 100% steam. Out of 100% means that 100% constitute that liquid part and vapor part both. That's why always the dryness fraction, if it is close to 1, then it is good. I can write better. Okay, and if it is very less than 1, if X value is very less than 1, then it is a poor quality steam. Why? Because if the dryness fraction is low, then lots of moisture is inside that steam, and that is very poor quality steam. That means this point, if it is moving toward this direction, suppose the steam is in this point, so lots of moisture is there, because this line is a liquid line, saturation liquid line, this line is a saturation vapor line. So how much you are proceeding to the right side, the quality of steam will be better. And can anyone say if the steam resting on this particular point, what will be the dryness fraction of this point? Anyone? Suppose the steam is resting on this particular red dot, then if anybody try to find out the dryness fraction of the steam, what will be the dryness fraction at this particular point? No one? Nearly na, exactly one, very good, exactly one of it, because at the dry saturation line the whole amount of steam is being converted into dry steam, so the numerator part and the denominator part will be remain same, so it will be 1. And similarly, tell me what will be the dryness fraction of this point? On this liquid saturation line, tell me. কেন হতে পারবে না? জিরোই হবে, because on this liquid saturation line, that the mass of dry steam, nothing is converted. On this liquid saturation line it is lying, so there is no conversion has been started yet. Phase change process এখনো শুরুই হয়নি, so mass of dry steam from where it is coming? There is no dry steam. So that's why the dryness fraction on the liquid saturation line it will be 0, on dry saturated line it will be 1, and inside this zone it will vary from 0 to 1. So always dryness fraction value it will be more than 0, less than 1, because it is resting in between L and V zone, liquid and vapor zone. When it is reaching to the dry saturated line, then it will be 1. So I can put it like less than equal to 1. Okay. So from this part, lots of objective question every year comes. What is dryness fraction? That regarding the dryness fraction, all this information can be used to form multiple number of objective questions. Okay. Now one thing more, that if suppose our stream is resting over here, this point, this is the point. Suppose I am giving a name. If I make this picture clear, suppose this kind, our stream is resting over this point. Okay, and this point, if I try to find out that what will be the enthalpy value, suppose I am giving the name of this particular point is 1. This point, our stream is resting over here, and if you try to find out the enthalpy at point 1, then the relationship is like this: HF plus X into HFG. এই জন্য এত কিছু বোঝাচ্ছিলাম। Here X is a dryness fraction of that particular point of state. H1 is the dryness enthalpy of that particular point 1. HF, it is the enthalpy, or rather say specific enthalpy at liquid state. Steam table it is represented by HL, but most of the time worldwide that HF notation is most popularly used. That's why I have written HF. Otherwise the steam table what I have shown you just before it, there that HF notation is expressed by HL. Which enthalpy actually we are talking about? This point enthalpy. At this point the enthalpy is expressed by HF or HL, because this is a liquid zone, liquid line, and HFG, it is in the steam table is expressed by HLV, liquid vapor, but this notation is most widely used. That's why I have noted it by HFG. That HFG enthalpy actually lying inside this liquid vapor zone. Here the enthalpy is expressed by HFG. F stands for liquid and G stands for gas, and X is the dryness fraction at this particular point. And in the steam table you have seen one more enthalpy is there, that is expressed by HV. HV means on this point, on the dry saturated line, the enthalpy what it is coming, that is expressed by HV. That means এখানটা যদি একটু ক্লিয়ার করে দিই, here this is the point of enthalpy I am finding here, it is 1, and that is the point where the HV I am talking about. To find the enthalpy value at point 1, you have to use this kind of expression, and this HF value or HL value, similarly HFG value or HLV value, those can be find out from steam table. Steam table means ST, with respect to WRT, with respect to some pressure value. Pressure will be given. Obviously, suppose this pressure is given, there is a boiler pressure. Suppose this boiler pressure is given 10 bar. That kind of data will be given in the problem. It will be written like that boiler pressure is 10 bar. Now, and the one temperature is also may be given. Now, with respect to 10 bar pressure, we have to find out the steam table, that what is the value of HF or HL, HV or HFG, HV or HV and or HFG. All these enthalpy values will be find out with respect to this 10 bar pressure, and put it over there and get the value of enthalpy at point 1. Understood? So that way we have to solve simple problems like, first of all, আচ্ছা এক্ষুনি ছেড়ে দিতে হবে, একটা প্রবলেম করিয়ে ছাড়বো after this class. What is there? Tell me. So can I take 20 minutes more for you? If anyone having any problem, then please tell me. If anyone wants to leave, then easily he or she is free to leave. নাহলে এত কিছু বকবার পরে if I do not solve any numericals, then it will be not very clear for all of you. Like I am taking a problem of year solve, that means previous year questions. It may be 2011 or 12, I do not know that, but the information is given in the problem, that is steam. Try to copy the thing very fast. Steam is supplied to 10 megawatt turbo alternator. Turbo alternator means nothing but, you know, the thing is alternator, you people are very well known, and turbo means a rotational thing is there. Turbo alternator 40 bar and 400 degrees centigrade. Then auxiliaries, spelling mistake can be there, consumed 7% of the output. Condenser pressure is 0.05 bar, and condensate means condensed water. Condensate is subcooled to 30 degrees centigrade. Subcooled means the liquid zone. Assuming eta boiler, these data are given. Eta boiler 85%. Relative efficiency of turbine, I am writing in short, eta relative turbine, that is given 80%. And mechanical efficiency of alternator, that is the alternator is nothing but the generator. So eta alt, that is given 95%. Okay, now you have to find that is steam consumption per hour, then overall efficiency eta overall, and C quality of steam. Quality of steam means the dryness fraction. These three things, quality of steam at the exit of turbine, mind it, quality of steam at the exit of turbine. That means while the turbine output is coming, obviously some amount of steam will be converted into water due to the expansion process. Okay, that's why output of the turbine is a moisted steam, so some moisture is there. Okay, so that is the whole thing, and it is actually coming from your previous year problem. It may be 2012. Okay, you can find it from your question bank. So these are the data are given. What are the data are given? You can find that the steam supplied to turbine, that is the 10 megawatt turbo alternator. Okay, so that means the steam which is coming to the turbine, that is having a 10 megawatt at 40 bar. So the pressure what we are talking about, that is the boiler pressure, is given 40 bar. Okay, we very require these two pressure, and one condenser pressure is given also. That is 0.04 bar, 0.05 bar. Do you people know what is bar? Bar means 10 to the power 5 Newton per meter square. If I convert it into Newton per meter square means Pascal, we all know. So if we convert it into kilopascal, then it will be 100 kilopascal, isn't it? 10 to the power 5 Pascal. So if you exclude 3 zeros from there, so 2 will be remain there, so 100 kilopascal. and if you want to convert it into megapascal, so it will be 1 bar is nothing but, if it is 10 to the power 5 pascal, so 0.1 megapascal will be there. So that kind of unit are very easy to find out from the steam table. If the steam table is given in kilopascal or megapascal, then you have to convert this bar into such unit. Okay. So steam is supplied, yes, 40 bar, and the temperature is also given 400 degrees centigrade. That is the steam which is coming out. That is the steam which is coming out from the boiler. That is the temperature of the steam. Obviously, you can see the 400 degrees centigrade is quite high. It may happen that superheating is being done. Okay. So is that steam is going into the superheated region or not? How it can be checked? First, you have to check that according to 40 bar pressure, what is the saturation temperature? I am again repeating. First, with the help of the steam table, you have to find out with respect to the 40 bar pressure, find the saturation steam table and find what is the saturation temperature. You will see that obviously with respect to 40 bar pressure, the saturation temperature will be less than the 400 degrees centigrade. I can show you if I again share the screen. See, that is a superheated steam table. So move on to top. Now here the pressure is being, first one is temperature table, so go to the pressure table. Yes, pressure table, that is 400, that is given in the megapascal. First one is kilopascal, then it is megapascal. So if I move to 40 bar is nothing but 400 kilopascal. It is then, I think, megapascal I have to observe. That is 40 kilopascal, then it is megapascal. Basically, hard copy steam table are available in library. It is more easy to find out from hard copy, but nowadays it is not possible for you to collect the steam table. Otherwise, every year all the students collect the steam table from library. Plenty of steam tables are available there. You can find it in soft copy in website also. So see, 40. That is the 0.4. 0.4 means that it is given in the megapascal unit, and in 0.4, that is 0.4 is nothing but 40 bar, because 1 bar is 0.1 MPa. So 40 bar is nothing but, acha, 1 second, 1 bar if it is 0.1, then 40 bar is 4 MPa, isn't it? 4 MPa, na? Am I doing the right thing? 40 bar, because the steam table is given into megapascal unit, so 40 bar is equals to 4 MPa, isn't it? So if the steam table is given to you in the MPa scale or kPa scale, then you have to convert this bar. Otherwise, lots of steam tables are there which is available in bar unit also. So you have to observe the 4 MPa. Here is the 4. Now I can zoom it now. See, that is the 4 MPa, and according to 4 MPa, that is 250.4 T. Can you see this reading? That is the saturation temperature, 250 degrees centigrade. That means at 40 bar pressure, the saturation temperature is 400 degrees centigrade. Understood? Now here the temperature is given in the problem, that is 400 degree centigrade. So from here you can easily understand that what is the state of the steam. So 400 degree centigrade. So we can see, I should wipe this problem. Can you see the board now? So first of all we should express that thing, that steam at the output of boiler is in superheated state. That should be explained properly. Since saturation temperature, that means Tsat, saturation temperature in short it is written like Tsat, it is 250 degrees centigrade at 40 bar pressure, and here it is given 400 degrees centigrade, so it is in superheated state. Now if we draw the diagram in a quick manner like this, the diagram will go into this region because superheated region is there. Now from there turbine work will be completed. The same thing what I have drawn earlier, that same thing, temperature versus entropy diagram. Now if I name the same way, 1 2 3 4 5 6, that thing again. So now this pressure, that is a constant pressure line, that line is representing a constant pressure line, mind it, constant pressure line, and in this problem that pressure is nothing but 40 bar, and the temperature which is coming at point 1, that T1 is given 400 degrees centigrade. Understood? And this 41 pressure, suppose if I consider this constant pressure line which is representing this one, I am marking it by P1 pressure, so it will be more easy. And second pressure which is the condenser pressure, that is a different pressure line, that is a condenser pressure, it is obviously very less, that is known as condenser pressure, and I am representing it by P2, and it is the boiler pressure, that is 40 bar. Understood? Here the work producing WT, here the pump work done, work consumed WP, here the heat rejection Q2, heat supplied Q1. Okay. Now first I have to find out that mass flow rate of the steam. So mass flow rate of steam can be find out if we if you use those efficiency relationships. See, one efficiency is given eta turbine. Eta turbine expression we have written like megawatt in 10 to the power 3 divided by, you can see the formula whatever I have written earlier, H1 minus H2. That kind of expression we have written in the term of relative turbine efficiency. That is the brake output of the turbine, the numerator part, and the denominator part is the internal output of the turbine. That expression we have written that by relative turbine efficiency, and that value is given in the problem, that value is given like whatever it is given, relative turbine efficiency, that is given 80%. So this value is known to us, heater turbine. Then the megawatt, it is also given, 10 megawatt is given. This value is also given, this value is given. Enthalpy value if you try to find out, then from there you can find out m dot s, and that is the first requirement of this problem, as mass flow rate of steam you have to find out. Understood? That is the objective. That is the objective where we have to reach. Okay, then H1 means the enthalpy at this point. At this point enthalpy you have to find out which steam table, superheated steam table, because this one region is lying for a superheated steam table. So at 40 bar and 400 degrees centigrade from superheated steam table, SST means superheated steam table. এই pressure or heat temperature are corresponding, enthalpy value find out, and it will be coming like, I have already noted it down, 3215.7 kilojoule per kg. You can find it afterwards after getting the steam table. Superheated steam table, find it at the last part, it will be there, and with respect to the particular 440 bar and 400 degree centigrade, just find out the enthalpy values. So H1 is now available for you. Then try to find out the H2. Now H2 is the problem because 2 point is lying inside this liquid vapor mixture zone. 2 point is lying inside the liquid vapor zone. It is not lying on the vapor line, it is not lying on the liquid line, it is lying inside the liquid vapor zone. So if we try to find out, to find H2, what we have to do? We have to use that same expression, H2 equals to H3 plus X into, suppose I name this point by what? By 2 prime. So H at 2 prime. H2 prime is lying on the vapor line, dry saturated line. So in steam table it will be expressed by HV, or rather say HG. HG or HV will be used. Both are same. HG stands for enthalpy at dry saturated line. HV stands for the same. But in the steam table, whatever I have given you, there HV will be there. Other steam table you can find it, there HG will be there. And H3 means enthalpy at this point, that is HL or HF. Now these enthalpy values, from where you can get these enthalpy values? These pressure line. These pressure line means they will be available at 0.05 bar, because that is the condenser pressure. Which steam table? Saturated steam table, because that is occurring in saturated region. So that is nothing but the saturated steam table you have to observe, not the superheated one, because that is the superheated region, but inside of this dome, that is the saturated zone. So saturated steam table থেকে এই প্রেসারের corresponding তোমাকে বার করে নিতে হবে enthalpy value, that is H3 and H2 prime. But the question is, dryness fraction, is it known to us? No beta, dryness fraction is not known to you. Basically you have to find out the dryness fraction in the problem also. How you can find out this X value? That X value, if we trying to find out, I can show it like here. To find X, what we have to do? We have to use an entropy relationship. Entropy relation will be holding like the same thing. Just substitute this enthalpy by entropy. Why I am using entropy relationship? Because you can see the 1 to 2 process. 1 to 2 process is the isentropic process. Isentropic means entropy constant. Entropy is represented by S, small s. S is constant. That is known as isentropic process. That's why I am going to use the entropy process, because if 1-2 process is the isentropic process, then entropy at point 1 and entropy at point 2, they will be remain same, because it is an isentropic process, isn't it? I think it is, yes. So S1 you can find out. S1 you can find out at 400 degrees centigrade and 40 bar pressure, because this is the condition, that is 40 bar and 400 degrees centigrade. So from there find the superheated steam table. Again from এটা কিন্তু superheated steam table থেকে পাওয়া যাবে, কারণ রিজিয়নটা superheated steam table. Find it there. So from there you can get the value of S1. Already I have found it. It is given in 6.7733. It may occur that some of the steam table you are trying to find out, it is given 6.7725. That kind of deviation can be there, because these values are experimentally found. So small deviation can be accepted. So that is the enthalpy, entropy, which is achievable from this condition, from superheated steam table. ठीक है. Now if S1 is known to you, then in case of S2 you can use the same kind of relationship what you have used in enthalpy finding. Same relationship like this. S2, just using the same relationship, instead of enthalpy I am putting entropy. S2 is written by S3, that is the entropy at this point, plus x into S2 prime. So that way I am using the same kind of relationship whatever I have used in case of enthalpy findings. See, the same notation I have used. Now this S2 prime, or rather say this S3, they are very easily available from the steam table at 0.05 bar from saturated steam table, just like this condition, same condition, because both of them are at same pressure, na? So again, find the steam table, saturated steam table. S3, there it will be represented by either by SF or by SL, and S2 prime will be represented by SG or SV. This kind of notation will be there. And already S1, or rather say S2, it is known to us, because S1 and S2 they are same. So now see this expression. S2 is known, S3 is known, S2 prime is known. From there you can get the value of x. And already I have find out that x value is coming 0.795. That means 79.5% steam is dry. That is the dryness fraction value. From here you are getting, that is the one question also, that what is the quality of steam at the output of the turbine. That is the answer. Now when you have already got this value of dryness fraction, put it over there, and here H3 and H2 prime is also already available to you. I can give you the values of H3 and H2 prime, whatever I have find. I have find that H3 value is 137.77. All these units are in kilojoule per kg, mind it. X value is 0.795 and H2 prime I am getting 2423.8. So all these values, put it down 0.795, and from there get the value of H2. After putting all these values, I am getting H2 value is coming 2064.7. Unit will be kilojoule per kg. Understood? After doing all these things, now you have already got H2. Put this H2 over here. From there get the value of mass flow rate of steam. So after putting all those values here, I am getting the mass flow rate of steam by 10.86 kg per second. Just try to find out the calculation whatever I have done with your own pen, copy and pencil. From there you can find this kind of values will be coming 10.86. After getting the value of mass flow rate of steam, and already we have got the dryness fraction. Second asking was overall efficiency of the plant. Now to find the overall efficiency, I have written that expression overall, that is written eta boiler, then multiplied with eta cycle, then multiplied with eta turbine, eta generator and eta auxiliary. Auxiliary, it is coming there because some auxiliary power is consumed there, it is given in the problem. Otherwise I can ignore the auxiliary part, but here it is being asked that what is given in the auxiliary efficiency. Eta boiler is given in the problem directly, eta turbine is also given directly, eta generator is also given, okay, and eta auxiliary, it is also given in a some different manner. See, it is given that what is that? Yes, auxiliaries consume 7% of the output. What does this mean? If it is consumed 7%, then the eta auxiliary will be 100 minus 7, that is 93%, isn't it? Because it is consumed 7% by all those devices like pulverizer, like conveyor, like ESP. They have consumed 7% of the generation. So the eta auxiliary will be 93%. It is given in some different manner. Now the question is eta cycle. It is not given. Eta cycle easily can be find out. Now eta cycle can be written like this way, that net work done by the input work done. Net work done I have written, just see the note whatever I have given you just now. H1 minus H2 minus H4 minus H3, that is the pump work. This is the pump work, and that is the boiler work. Turbine work. If you subtract these two, you are getting the net work done with respect to the amount of heat supplied in, that is H1 minus H4. See the same notation I am using over here. So pump work, how it can be finding, that is the most important question over there, because H1, H2 already we have find out. Now the problem is that pump work H4 minus H3. H3 easily can be find out. H3 can be find out, but H4 is the problem, because H4 is lying inside the liquid zone. It is not easy to find out. That's why just to find the enthalpy, instead of finding the enthalpy, pump work also can be find out by using a different relation. That relation is expressed by V into dP. V means the specific volume. That expression how it is coming, I am just omitting that part. That is a part of thermodynamics. I am not going to clarify over here. Just you have to memorize the formula. Small v is specific volume. That specific volume you can get from steam table. Okay, and Tp is the change of pressure. Change of pressure. Now, in terms of this diagram, if I convert this expression, so it will be look like V3, that means the specific volume at point 3 minus change in pressure. Which pressure? Boiler pressure minus condenser pressure, isn't it? So in terms of P1 minus P2, that is the expression for pump work that I have to use to find the pump work. Okay, now V3, that is the specific volume at point 3. That means which pressure? 0.05 bar pressure, that is the condenser pressure. So with respect to this pressure, go to the steam table and find the specific volume. Already I have found the specific volume is like this. Obviously the temperature will be a matter of concern here. The temperature is given in the problem. See, 30 degrees centigrade. In the problem, the subcooled region temperature is given. Condensate is subcooled to 30 degrees centigrade. So go to the steam table with respect to 0.05 bar and 30 degrees centigrade. From there you can get the value of specific volume, and I am getting the value like 0.00100049 this meter cube per kg. That is the specific volume at 0.05 bar and 30 degrees centigrade. And P1 and P of T2, they all are already known for us. P1 is 40 bar, P2 is 0.05 bar. It may be needed that unit can be converted. In this case, it is not used actually. 40 bar you can directly put it. Okay. So after putting all these values, from there I am getting the pump work like 4.015 kilojoule per kg. That is the pump work. Okay. Now that pump work is expressed by H4 minus H3, isn't it? So the pump work is actually expressed H4 minus H3. So I can write H4 minus H3 is nothing but 4.015. Okay. So from there you can get the value of H4, that 4.015 plus H3. And H3 value, it is very easily available from steam table at 0.05 bar and 30 degrees centigrade. at this condition this H3 is easily available. I have got this enthalpy value from the steam table like 125.316 kilojoule per kg. So if we put this value from there, you are getting the H4 value. Why I am finding H4? Because H4 is there, that's why. So final H4 is coming 129.331 kilojoule per kg. Now see H1, H2, H4, H3. All H3 is not actually needed here, but still H3 is also available for you. Put all those values over there, find the eta cycle from there, and I am getting the eta cycle like a value of 37.2%, or rather say 0.372. That is the eta cycle after putting all those enthalpies over there. While you are already having these enthalpy values, the efficiency values, dump all of them over the overall efficiency expression. Finally, after putting all those expressions over there, I am getting the overall efficiency like 0.223, like 22.3%. It is a problem of 15 marks.